Some experienced anglers tie flies for our rivers that imitate the marine organisms that nurtured our steelhead while they were in the Pacific Ocean. Many of these creatures are semi-transparent or translucent. Tying flies with these qualities can lead to more angling success. Some of the best flies are tied in layers from the inside out. EP brushes are made from a mixture of fibers wound perpendicular on a stainless steel wire and are applied to the fly much like hackle.
Okay, we tie to fish these flies, but I like to make them look decent too. Not go about things too haphazardly. Get that secured on the near side of the shank there. Okay, from here we're going to want to minimize thread wraps. Obviously we don't want to create too much bulk, and that brings me to these EP Foxy brushes here, these anadromous brushes that we've got in the shop for this winter. I originally tied this fly spinning deer hair for a prop. Now I can minimize bulk by utilizing these Foxy brushes in the correct way. Okay, these things are buoyant, the fibers are long, they're pretty coarse, so we're not going to use but about 2 wraps of this, and it is on a wire brush. If you're going to use it on the wire, make sure that you're using heavy enough thread or are able to get, you know, good substantial heavy thread wraps around that shank, otherwise it will pull out. I've had it happen, so that is the way to avoid that. Now, again, this stuff is pretty buoyant, so I do not want any more of it than, you know, creating a full skirt around the fly. So 2 wraps right there. I feel confident, comfortable that that's going to prop my rhea and my ostrich plenty well enough to get the job done out there. Okay, again, this wire needs to be tied in really well, so although we're trying to minimize bulk, I'm going to make sure that that is held down with a few substantial thread wraps there. Okay, I'll take a brush and brush those fibers out, get any of the stuff that got trapped while we were wrapping it and tying it in kind of picked out. Okay, and now this fly, I'm not trying to get a huge profile out of it. You could use a dubbing ball underneath that anadromous brush and even get this stuff to prop out even more, but I think that's a fine looking skirt to start wrapping some rhea and some ostrich around and start getting some real movement into this fly. So I'm going to start with a dubbing loop here. Alright, make sure these are really tightened together, spin them up good. And then start to wrap them around. Okay, just like I should have mentioned with that Foxy brush, same as wrapping a schlappen collar on any other fly or something. You're just using that feather folding technique, getting all the fibers swept back so that you're not trapping them against the shank, losing the effect of the material. Okay, and you can see that we did not put a ton of rhea in that. That is just basically one time around the shank that we got going there. Finish your dubbing loop here.
Then Matt spins on a layer of blue ostrich herl over the black rhea, then teases it out with his bodkin. Next comes a layer of marabou.
I'm going to use more of the longer portion of the marabou here. It's not necessarily a collar, I guess it's really building on what we've already done with the ostrich and the rhea. I'll go ahead and cut this tip out of here. Some would fold that back, but again, less bulk, more movement, more fish catching. Okay, and I'll wrap that away from me around the stem. Just as we did with that rhea and that ostrich. If I can get 1.5 turns out of that, that is plenty for me. In fact, that is, okay, this is probably the harder of our 3 dubbing loops on this fly. Get that rabbit strip stuck in there. trap that loop closed, and cut that leather out of there. Another great advantage of being able to do these dubbing loops, utilizing materials in ways that you may not have before. I know this whole rabbit over the eyes thing was a mystery for me for a while, but the dubbing loop is the answer. Okay, get that dubbing loop spun up nice and tight. Don't let any of those other materials get trapped while you're spinning. Alright guys, this is the end. We're going to go one wrap behind the eye and one wrap in front of the eye. Pull all that material back the best you can. We're going to whip finish. Show you another trick that I've been using quite a bit as of late. A little bit of zap-a-gap right there on the thread. Nice whip finish. Okay, thus no head cement is necessary. Pop that guy out of the vise. Again, this is Matt Sherman with the Fly Fishing Shop in Welch's, Oregon. That one's going to get some fish this winter, so learn how to tie it, work on your dubbing loops, working with some ostrich. Come see us at the Fly Fishing Shop if you need a hand.